Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the House. I want you to know that I stand with the majority of Iowans who support a woman's right to make her own reproductive health care choices. I'm going to start with a little personal story. Last December, my daughter, my only daughter, called me and she said, "Mom, I think we're going to get married." She lives in California, and for most families, this is a really joyous time, right? Because you think, wow, we're expanding our family. But for me, I was really depressed. I was really sad about it. The young man she's going to marry, he's wonderful. Has nothing to do with that. The part that's hard for me is that they're going to live in California. And they're going to have my grandchildren in California, and I live here. And then the legislature started up, and on January 27th, we debated this bill for the first time, and I recognized that my daughter's life is in better hands in California. And although it's going to be really hard for me because my daycare was my parents and my in-laws here. My children spent time at their house when I couldn't be with them. And they were extremely close to their grandparents. I would rather my daughter be safe when she has her children. Make no mistake about it, this constitutional amendment will end legal and safe abortion care in Iowa. If anyone tells you differently, you are being misled. If your wife, daughter, your niece, or friend needs an abortion to save her life, it is not going to be available. That's the truth. This amendment ends legal and safe abortion care in this state, no matter the circumstances. As a matter of fact, this amendment actually removes mothers from the protection. Removes mothers. I don't know if there's a more important person in a child's life. This amendment is an extremist reaction to a reasonable and fair Supreme Court decision. The courts hold an important and nonpartisan, non-political role in the checks and balances of government, and we must allow them to do their job. This amendment is insulting. It risks a woman's health and life when we should be creating access to quality health care for all, address access to prenatal care, and address our elevated maternal death rates. Have we done anything there? 77% of Americans support Roe v. Wade. The Iowa Supreme Court decision does not expand the right to an abortion, it mirrors Roe v. Wade. The Iowa Constitution must protect us from this extremist agenda. The constitutional amendment puts infertility treatment and birth control at risk. There are no exceptions for a survivor of rape or incest, and no allowance to save the life of a woman. Under this amendment, a woman has no right to save her life if she is pregnant. Representative Confirst, you're right. We hear you. We hear the women of Iowa. Pregnancy is complicated, and every woman's experience with pregnancy is unique. This is a one-size-fits-all. I believe women and their families should have options when they face tragedies, and I am certain that most Iowans agree with me. This amendment risks a woman's life for an ideological agenda. Now, more than ever, we should be listening to medical professionals. We have heard repeatedly from obstetricians that tell us restriction to abortion care is dangerous and life-threatening. Iowans place their trust in doctors. Good leaders listen to experts in developing public policy. We must listen to obstetricians for the health of women. We need to be coming together, and instead, under this amendment, women will die and families will face additional challenges. This language, it goes even further than what we did on January 27th, and it uses language that says an abortion even to the point of birth. Representative Holt, maybe you could give us the legal definition of even to in your closing comments. There is no such thing as an abortion up until the point of birth, and we all know that. There is no such thing. Roe v. Wade concluded the following from page 15. We therefore conclude that the right of personal privacy includes the abortion decision, but the right is not unqualified and must be considered against important state interests and regulation. Former Chief Justice Cady made a nearly identical conclusion in his Reynolds majority decision on page 55. No court has held, and we do not hold today, that a woman's right to terminate a pregnancy is unlimited. You call this extremist, this is a balanced decision. There is no such thing as an abortion up to the point of birth. Don't be fooled by this extremist language, truth over lies. The Republican constitutional amendment is based on ideology. It is not based on fact. It is not based on medical science. It is not based on the facts of the Iowa Supreme Court case. We have real problems to solve, and we need real leadership to solve them. The first night of debate of the 89th General Assembly, we debated this bill. I understand this is close to the last night, and here we are again. Chief Justice Cady from the Iowa Supreme Court decision wrote, autonomy and dominion over one's body go to the very heart of what it means to be free. We talk about freedom a lot here in this chamber, but apparently not for a woman. Continuing with Chief Justice Cady, at stake in this case is the right to shape for oneself without unwarranted governmental intrusion, one's own identity, destiny, and place in the world. Nothing could be more fundamental to the notion of liberty. Again, Iowans are looking for leadership. Chief Justice Cady was a great leader. We cannot be a state that would deny a woman autonomy over her body and expect young women and young families to want to live here. This amendment is reckless. And the fact that it actually made me happy that I'll be going to visit my grandchildren in California where it'll be safe for my daughter, that's really sad. But I'm going to guess that there are a lot of women leaving this state as they're listening to this debate, thinking, you know, there's got to be a better place to live than this. Maybe someplace where my life has value. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, vote no. Be a real leader. Stand with a real leader like Chief Justice Cady and vote no.